Welcome to the HydroApps demo for Facility Manager. We're so excited to show you the features that Facility Manager has and how this could begin working for your organization right away. So first of all, with HydroApps, it's important to note that the way that it's designed is that every user in the website will have different levels of settings. This means that you're able to set up everything from what facilities your team sees to what types of documents, checklists, forms, and access level they have. When you build out your HydroApps website, you'll be able to upload your staff list and then manage the facilities that they have access to, their information as it relates to any of the other modules that we have, like Schedule Manager, certification tracking, and audit and performance and in-service tracking, and be able to upload their different positions and their levels of access before they're even able to get into the site. This works really well when you're using different types of facility constructs in HydroApps. If you're using aquatics and dry side operations, or if your aquatic operation is really robust and you have different areas that people are supervising or different levels of certification and supervision that you'd like to keep siloed to different areas. You're also able to set up different customized approaches to each user so that you're able to set up which checklists and inspections and forms they see, as well as what features and modules they see. So this is really helpful and handy in your structure and your hierarchy as you have different folks who are going to interact with different parts of the site. You're also able to set up different types of alerts for different features. So this is also really helpful if you have folks in your organization who want to get updates on things like pool tests and pool closures and different incidents and accidents, but don't necessarily want to be into the data entry portion or even the report generation portion of HydroApps. And we're able to manage that through all of the email settings. So to talk through what Facility Manager is, let's first talk about the 4 different components. So HydroApps has, first and foremost, a pool test component where you're going to replace your chemical check binder by putting all of the information related to chemicals and pool chemistry into what we call pool test. The second part is inspections or checklists. These are going to replace any type of binder or Excel sheet that you have that currently is keeping track of things like an opening morning checklist, weekly maintenance checklist, any model aquatic health code checklist that you're currently doing, slide inspections, and even maintenance tickets. So our inspections and checklists will generate maintenance tickets as they are being logged if the item is not in compliance with what you're looking for. Part 3 is going to be forms. Our HydroApps website does come with some created forms that we will put into your website for you, including a in-service document, an incident injury form, a pool closure form, and also a basic level patron counting form. These forms are able to be used as you wish, and they're in line with the best standards put forth by the Model Aquatic Health Code, or you're able to put in your own versions of forms. You're also able to add any additional forms in excess of those existing forms. So things like swim test, day camp forms, any type of forms related to your current operations that would be helpful for you to put in here would be a welcome addition to the template forms that we already have. And then the 4th component to Facility Manager is what we call public display. And this allows the HydroApps website to pull specific data through a link, a custom code link to your organization website. And you can decide what information you want to report to that particular page. And we'll show you what that looks like here. So let's start first with that first feature of Pool Test. Pool Test is going to, again, replace your binder that has all of your pool chemicals in it. And this information in here is going to be customized based on what you would like to be testing. We're happy to work with you on your state code or on the Model Aquatic Health Code standards, and you're able to see what those ranges are supposed to be. The best thing about this is that you're going to be able to see who and when they're taking the test. We'll put in the times based on what your current structure is for how often you're taking your test. And then your team will go in and fill this information out as a result. Once you put the information in, if everything's in line with what these set points are, then your staff will be able to save and exit here. If your staff ever enters anything outside of those ranges, then the color coding will notify them that something is outside of those range values, and a chemical adjustment suggestion will pop up here. You're able to have as much or as little information as you want here on this screen. And as part of your customized onboarding, we will work with you to decide what these different types of components will be. Once your team has filled that out, you're going to see the bubble will turn to solid, and then they'll go on with their day. If there's nothing outside of the normal range, the test will just be recorded and will show up later in the reporting tab. If the range of the test is outside of what the acceptable limits are, then the folks who are signed up to get email alerts will get those email alerts that an out of range test has been logged, and they'll be able to address that. If there's ever a time that your team needs to take an additional reading outside of the times that are listed per body of water, then you will be able to click the plus arrow sign and add additional testing here. As part of your onboarding, we'll also ask you what your gallonage is for your facility. We'll learn about the type of body of water specifically, if it's a pool, if it is a splash feature, if it's indoor, if it's outdoor, and that type of information will help us figure out the dosing and the accuracy and make sure that those recommendations are super customized to your specific body of water and gallonage. You're also able to have any of your Chemtroller automatic chemical readers set up to display as well and pull in those readings. If you're curious about what current companies we're working with for integrations, let us know and we'll be able to let you know if we're currently working with those specific chemical feeders or not. We also are able to do the water balance here, so you'll be able to fill out the water balance test. And again, this is going to timestamp and have the record of who's filling this out every time they take the test. The benefit of the pool test is also that you're able to have different people log in and out and do different things within the website at the same time. So if you have multiple locations, they're able to log into those different locations and fill that information out. You're also able to have different staff come in and out and fill that out. When it comes to the reporting for pool reports, you're going to be able to pull this information up when you need to, if there's an inspection coming up, or if you need to pull information to get a better read of what's been going on for your specific bodies of water and pools. You're able to sort these out by location and facility. You can also sort them out by body of water. And as this data is filled out, you'll be able to see here the range and the rise and fall of the different types of data that's been entered across the entire report. You're also able to build out the report and decide what date ranges you'd like to look at, what types of readings you're wanting to look at, and even isolate this to do a patron count instead if you wish for those different bodies of water and for those different date ranges. There's some additional reports here that you can find. We have facility charts and daily pool reports. You also are always able to pull out all of the data that you've entered as a PDF or as an Excel document, and Pool Test works the same. The second feature of Facility Manager is our checklists. So you can see here we have lots of versions of checklists. There's no limit to how many you have. You are able to apply those to different people and to different facilities. This one here is an example of a pool opening checklist at a campground that we have. This is the pool at the camp. The different inspections or a checklist are going to have 4 different options for you. Compliance is going to be the best option. If they're checking the item, they'll be able to mark that it's compliant and it'll time and date stamp who and when that was filled out. This is great for accountability because if your checklist is supposed to be done before they open for the day, but you're noticing here that they're not getting it done beforehand, or maybe you notice that all of the input is at the exact same time, that might denote that they're not doing it at the time that they should, or that they're not truly walking around with the iPad and potentially checking those different areas. Not applicable is the second option here. The third option is compliant with a comment. So your team's going to be able to put a comment here and take a photo just like they would with a phone or an iPad and attach that. Not compliant is going to mean that issue, the item that they're supposed to be checking in the inspection or in the checklist is an urgent or non-urgent issue, but it definitely is not compliant. They're going to be able to discern if it's urgent or not, type in what the issue is, and then be able to put in their suggestion for an action to be taken. They're going to also be able to assign this to somebody, and you as an admin are able to change who they assign it to, and you're also able to turn on and off who they're able to assign this to. They're also able to put in a deadline. This can be changed later by admin, and then they're able to take a photo if that would help support the ticket that they're submitting. Sometimes it happens that our team moves through a checklist or an inspection and something comes up that is of concern, but it's not on the specific checklist. If that's the case, your team's able to click on the maintenance ticket and assign it to the location of the place where they opened it. They're able to assign it to any equipment if you have asset manager, and then they're able to put in the information about the issue here. The checklists are designed to have different sections if you wish, so you can have as many of those built out as you'd like. Team members can go in and out of different sections and in the specific sections together, fill those things out. So if you have an opening guard who does a few tasks and then rotates up onto the stand, another person comes down as the down guard, they'd be able to jump into that checklist or inspection and finish working on it before they submit it. You're also able to have your team put general comments, and then you're able to capture the signature of whoever it is that submits the inspection. As I mentioned, you're able to have as many of these as you wish or as you need. As you look at your screen here, you're able to see what items have been completed. You're able to delete these, open any outstanding issues related to these checklists, and overall get a sense for what's going on across those checklists. The third thing that I want to mention was the different types of forms that we have. So we have different forms that either come as part of your HydroApps membership. These have been designed again with the best standards in mind across the industry. So if you're new to keeping record in alignment with your state code or with the Model Aquatic Health Code, we've tried to take some of that mystery out of what these forms should look like and what they should include, so you can make sure that you're adhering to those standards. For the different forms, they're all dynamic in nature, which means that you have different questions and you're able to have different answer types. We have a variety of different answer types in the software, and you're able to change these at any time, and you're able to make any edits to any forms or add any forms that you wish. As part of your onboarding, we do quite a bit of the building of the forms in the site for you to help you with the ease of use and to get using as soon as possible. But you'll find here that they're really user-friendly, and you're able to edit these as you go. You're able to put in things like the date. You're able to put in different time ranges. You'll notice here that you can type in different spots. You can capture signatures. You can have different toggle buttons. You can put in birth dates. There's dynamic options for questions here. So as you have staff fill out a certain form a certain way, the follow-up questions change. So that way you're able to ask the most mindful questions based on the answer that is given. You're also able to make certain questions mandatory. You're able to pull names in from the system and then have your team sign their name as part of filling out this form. You're also able to add photos and add locations. Being able to have really targeted locations for your site as it relates to your forms and your checklists and your inspections means that you're able to have really strong data about where things are happening in your facility that allows you then to make changes on everything from the risk management, mitigation, and policy creation standards that you have, all the way up to how you're training and onboarding your team, making sure that they're ready for anything that happens in the facility. You're also able to break things down by different classifications, like different types of incidences, different types of reactions, different activities, and all these different types of information and all of these forms, whether they're a template form that we've provided for you or they're a custom form that you're coming to HydroApps with and refining, you'll be able to pull out for reporting purposes and be able to make decisions based on this data. You're also able to have little suggestions with different questions for your team. So this little icon here will allow you to put a note that if you're finding that folks aren't filling this out in the way that you want them to, you can put a little note for your team and make sure that they see that. And also, if you make it required, they won't be able to submit that form until they fill it out. So you won't have that instance of them not completing it and having to go back and figure out what information's missing. You're able to upload any supplemental information. You're able to upload photos and then capture any signatures. One of the really cool things about these forms is that you're also able to reopen these. So as a lifeguard, I could fill out this injury illness form, and as a manager, my manager could open it and sign off on it, put any comments. And then the third part there is that as the aquatic supervisor or maybe the director, I can go in a third time, open it, and sign off on it as part of our process. We have some additional forms here like the pool closure form. This is a great one to track when a body of water, a feature, or an entire facility is closed. You'll see this too as a dynamic form here, and the questions underneath are going to change as a result. This is a really wonderful form for reporting. This is also a really great form to be working with your leadership staff so that they're aware of how many times you're closing and for what reasons, in case they're fielding any customer service, outreach questions or concerns from patrons in your absence or when you're not actually at work. So what do these forms look like in the reporting section? So an illness and injury form, you're going to be able to figure out exactly what facility it happened at. You're going to be able to go back to prior date ranges, and you're also going to be able to see the different type of incident that occurred and be able to look up and sort that as a result. You're also able to pull up all of these forms as PDFs and Excel documents. So if you need to pull those out and pass those on to an insurance company or share that with another team member, you're able to do that pretty straightforwardly here. You can also see that I can reopen these if I need to and make any additional edits, or I can go back in and sign these as I want and then resend them to be submitted. This is really great to also sort out by different locations, different types of rescues, and be able to see at a snapshot kind of what we're looking at and who's completed what type of things. As you add your own custom forms, you're going to be able to pick what types of reporting data you want to display across the top, and you'll have additional things display across the top as well for forms. You can see here we made a concession form. You can use a concession form to track what you have on your in your concession stand and on site for your different equipment. You'll be able to use this across a lot of different applications on your website. So the last thing that I want to show is the public display. So the public display is the fourth component of Facility Manager. And what this allows folks to do if they wish is to report out data to the public. There's a few different ways that you can be sharing that data. You are able to have a contact button if you wish, and then you control pool chemistry. You get to decide what you want to show for pool chemistry. So some folks are interested in showing the actual chemistry of the water. Some people are just showing patron counts or just showing the water temperature. You certainly could show all of those things, but you are able to show those if you wish onto your website, and it'll push those updates as your frontline staff enter that information and take the pool test. You're also able to show the ranges if you want of what those chemical tests should be. So if you elect to show what the chlorine reading is, for example, you also could turn on if you want to show the acceptable range, and that would let the public know that whether or not the chemical reading that they're showing most recently is within the range of what it's supposed to be for the state or the Model Aquatic Health Code. There's also some features here to show up messages if you wish. So you could say things like registration is coming up, or keep in mind that we'll be closing for the facility in 2 more weeks, or feel free to email us to learn more about our pool rentals. There's really endless options here for messages. You also could have information around pool rules or swim test or patron counts, things along those lines. And then there's also a section to put different sponsorship information as you wish. That could be internal or sponsorship information, or it could be external. It's up to you. The script here that you would copy is what you're going to connect to your forward-facing or public display for your website, and we're happy to walk through this with you to get this set up for you. In a nutshell, this is all of the features that are a part of Facility Manager. You also will get messages to be able to message your team when they log into their dashboard. They're going to be able to see any messages that display, and they also will get those email notifications that will go out as a result of the admins and folks sending messages. They're also going to have access to files. So you as an admin are able to add different types of files. You can add things like reference documents. You can add mini videos or photos and attach those to checklists or forms to be able to give people an understanding of what it is that you're looking for when they're completing those inspections and those facility checks if you wish. And then you're also able to just segment this like you are with users, where only maybe your managers or your coordinator level staff can see certain things if you wish. So there's a lot of settings within files to be able to gatekeep that information as well. If you have any other questions about Facility Manager, or if you'd like to take a deeper tour into the module of Facility Manager, please let us know. We're happy to go over those features for you and give you a customized quote. You can reach us at support@hydroapps.com.